Court is now in session. You may be seated.
I had an opportunity to observe the defendant who did not respond to the court or counsel's questions and was lying on the floor, mumbling with his eyes closed. Any observations the defense wishes to make to augment that record, Ms. Regan?
No.
How about you, Ms. McDougall?
No.
All right. At this point in time, there are two options if the defendant is competent. One option is that there be a colloquy and he waive his right to be present, which he may do so. Or two, that he be brought out into the courtroom forcibly and, if necessary, in shackles. Neither of those options are available to the court if there is a question of competency that needs to be pursued. Rather than start at the beginning, we are contacting Dr. Merritt so that she can come out here and do the 15A because she's aware of all the information. We don't need to have another clinician read through an entire report, and she's familiar with Mr. Chism. That seems to me to be the most efficient way to proceed. Ms. Regan, that's not going to happen in time for us, no matter what happens. She won't be here before the jury needs to be excused for the day. I don't want to assume, but there's not really much choice. I assume you'd like me to excuse the jurors with a caution that they not speculate on why the defendant is not present rather than have them just see an empty seat.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Does Commonwealth wish to be heard, Ms. McDougall? Do you wish to be heard further, Ms. Regan?
No, Your Honor. If after the jury is discharged, we could hear, the court could hear us on the question of colors, I'd appreciate it.
Yes. All right. Well, you'd have to waive your client's presence on that issue. All right. All right. So we can set it up with the jurors and let them leave. Court will be
All rise. Court will be in a brief recess.
We're going to excuse you for the day in just a moment. I know that you can't help but notice that the defendant is not present in the courtroom. You're not to speculate in any way what that reason might be. Every day I tell you about how important it is that you avoid any information from any source other than in the courtroom, that you're not doing any independent research, and that you avoid newspapers, that you avoid the television news, that you avoid the media in any way. So it's important that you do that, and I know you have, and that you're working very hard at that. The reason that the defendant is not present at this moment will be all over the news. You will be one of very few people who will not know the reason, but you cannot know the reason. You cannot know the reason. So you have to be vigilant and work really hard at avoiding any news coverage of this case from any source whatsoever. Do not allow anybody to talk about this case with you under any circumstances, and have that order that I gave you in your hand if necessary, if anybody tries to do it. If something comes on unexpectedly on the news, on the television, because you're watching a channel and you don't expect anything to come on, just walk out of the room as quickly as you can, change the station if it's the radio, and don't even glance peripherally at the newspaper. I don't want you to come at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning because I'm not sure that we'll be starting right at 9 o'clock. I don't want to take any of your valuable time that's not absolutely necessary. So we'll have you return tomorrow morning at 10:15. Please try to arrive no earlier than 9:55 and no later than 10:05. That'll take a lot of pressure off of the court officers who are waiting for you all so they can bring you upstairs. So I know that you're all serious. I know you're all conscientious. I know you're all working hard. Every time I look over at you, it seems to me not just figuratively, but literally, you're leaning into the case and listening with intensity and seriousness and comporting yourself as you would expect people in the position that you're now in to do so. And keep in mind every moment that you're on this case that you are the only judges of the facts of the case. You're the judges of the facts of the case, and you need to conduct yourself as you would expect judges of the facts to do so. With the instruction of the court in mind, not to speculate as to anything that relative to the defendant's presence, and to keep in mind the need to avoid any information from any source other than in the courtroom. The jurors are excused. Court will remain in session.
All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons having anything further to do before the Honorable David Lowy, Justice of the Superior Court, now sitting at Salem, within and for this county of Essex, at present depart and give your attendance at this place Wednesday morning next at 10:15 a.m. To which time and place the sitting of this court is now adjourned. Juror, if you'll lead out, and remember to leave your books on the seat. Watch your step going up. This court will remain in session. You may be seated.
All right, the court will make the Waller findings as soon as possible. I prefer to do it with the defendant present, but I'll make the Waller versus Georgia findings as to the partial closure promptly. Ms. Regan?
On that other issue, if we could be seen inside.
Sure. I'm not sure, quite frankly, how long that'll take, but there's no chance that anything would occur earlier than 2 o'clock this afternoon. So court is in recess until no earlier than 2 o'clock this afternoon.
All right. Rise. Court will be in recess. 2 p.m.